All right, guys, welcome back to the positional stuff. And let's see that game in the Tree University. And hope there's no copyright or something, because whatever we are doing is highly illegal. And that is not allowed that you are not purchasing the post, but you are just. But that's how piracy works. And that's how piracy works. And when piracy works like that, you improve your game, you improve your chess, and you get better at the game, and you improve your game. And some people are not that rich, some people are poor like me, and pouring doesn't matter, knowledge matters. So let's go. Yeah. Game. All right, we did that. Game, model game. What positional chess means? Positional chess 2103-2025. Game Barcelona Italian League 2023. What is positional chess? Let's try to understand it. But I highly recommend that you also watch the video lesson. Well, I did watch the video lesson. You will not be able to watch the video lessons. Let's not talk about it. C3. I played the reverse Slav against I am Ledron de Guerra in the Italian Championship 2023. Very nice system. I might try this as well. And that is, after this game, I got confirmed that why I feel to have London, some similarity with the London. And I feel sort of comfortable and not lacking the usual ideas and well aware of the breaks. Not because I play D4 and stuff like that, but because London is kind sort of similar to Slav defense. And that is something I have been playing for quite a lot of time. Not recently, but I did play a lot of time in the Italian Championship. At that time, I loved so much to play Slav with the black that I decided to do it with white as well. Just a tempo up. And that is very good because you get the bishop up out without playing e3. So that's a good thing. To have bishop b2 in case of knight c5, knight h5 like this, and you are going to lose the bishop, the dark square bishop like this. Like this maybe. Yeah. So if you lose the dark square bishop, black will have the two pair the bishop advantage, and you don't want to lose this very important bishop. So you are just making the square in case he wants to go back. E3 now, castle, bishop e2, not bishop to d3, because in London such structure, d6, e5 is the main plan, and then this e4 comes with a tempo. So you are taking precautions and putting the bishop on e2, that is the bad square. d6, castle, knight bt7, normal move so far. Bishop h2, a useful prophylactic move. The author says useful standard prophylactic move against e5, which is quite obvious. You just want to save tempo, and you just want to play knight bd2, knight c4, and stuff like that. Queen e8, Ledron's choice. Maybe it was not the best, but a normal move indeed. And if I was black, I would have played exactly something like this, because that is how I play against London system. I mean, I would have went for a6 here, and then maybe try to open the position with c5, something like that. Yeah, something I would play Queen E3, E5, and I've played a few games like. But okay, we are watching it from white perspective, and all of these players are way better than me, and I'm just another noob, so nobody to judge these guys. Just trying my comments, and perhaps with the viewer I'm better. So let's go. Knight b7, bishop e2, queen e8. It was over to a4. This is where the game starts, because as the first question, will you play a4 or a5? And you can just ask this question to your opponent, like you have a very strong triangle formation here. So what you can do is essentially just say that, okay, I have a good pyramid. I'm just asking question. I want to go a5. Maybe opening my a5, trying to generate some counterplay. Let's go. Opponent plays a5. I think not the most accurate decision by my opponent, but it's possible move, of course. The author has marked this as dubious. He decided that he will just block the a4, a5 possible pivot on e5. The standard move is a6. That's what I said. Okay, wait. Just need to see some variations. Yeah, the standard move is a6, where the game could have been continued with this interesting knight fd2. Very nice, interesting idea, knight fd2, something new idea. Yeah, I thought the idea is to play bishop f3 and try to trade the bishop, but it is sort of Frenchish ideas. Maybe I would have improved my pieces before playing e5, e5, c4, ed4, ed4, queen d8, blacks improve his queen, a5, bf5, knight b3 with initiative. Equal for the engine, but some small pressure exists, and really nice way to play, I guess. Neither b2 is quite a classy move. c4 idea, just switching up there. I mean, I would have went a bit confusing. I'm lacking ideas in this position. I doubt if I want to play f4, that would be too weakening. e4 is something I would play in such structures, e4, f3, just trying to consolidate. And maybe I would just play b4 or something like that, or maybe just rerouting my knight to f4, like knight e1 to e3 and f4 and stuff like that. But this is perhaps the best move and a very nice idea to keep in mind. Yes. A6, knight fd2. A5 is also an interesting move. B5 is the idea. B4 again can also be considered with the idea C4, not allowing B4, but it should be equal as well. E5, C4, takes, knight D5, queen B3, and to keep the G7 bishop locked, E D4, not knight D4, knight B5, queen D3, knight F6, equal chances for both the players. And this is a variation where B4 is interesting, but C4 is interesting as well, where you just say for the engine it is okay for black, but for human perspective this can be quite annoying to think about, and I already can feel some heat for black, and I feel that I would love to play this position. B4 C4 is also nice, but it's like B4 pawn seems to be a bit weak, B5 square is a bit weak, and that's equal, nothing concrete. C4 on the other hand, but from the human perspective it can be better. If he plays bc4, then we can just go bishop cross c4 with the initiative. It is for 0.10 evaluation, but white has long-term ideas against the a6 pawn, and I completely agree with that. B4, interesting move with the idea of stopping it. The best reaction if black manages to play c5, the position is great. But here, very interesting move. We see play c5 instead. Just don't allow him to push it. Just like if someone is covering a square, then you just push it anyways. I mean, just stop idea. That's a move you really want to play. C5 is a move you really want to play. And Sam Shankland rule says that if there's any move you really want to play, then ask yourself, what if I do it anyways? And here it works. Technically, d3-5, bishop c7, it is an equal game with enough counterplay and stuff like that. Okay, nice stuff. And this is the variation what we are saying. Knight fd2, and then we are saying this variation as e5 or a5. Two interesting moves, and then b4 and all these ideas. But in the game, a5 was played, and knight fd2. I mean, we were discussing a6, guys, a6, and the idea there. But in the game, a6 was not played. A5 was played. But also another interesting track would have been knight e4. Black ignores the a4, then I would play a5 myself, and a6 can also be considered. Logical, but now white has a better structure. ab6, eb6, knight b d2. It is not a big advantage, but slightly better uh, for white for sure due to these weak sort of hanging pawns here. And just a very pleasant, healthy advantage. Queen b3, knight c4, just doubling on the a file, rook a2, rook a1. Something like that. Very pleasant, very healthy. Pawn pyramid is doing good, and e5 might create a3 weakness, or something like queen b4 can come up. So that's quite decent as well. So he played a5, his opponent played e5. This is where the game starts, and knight e4 would have been a nice move, but it is slightly better. a6 was the best try, and all these variations which we just saw, a5, b4, c4, a5, a6, he had multiple responses, knight fd2, and the way thrusting stuff, and a5, and blah, 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 we saw that, like b4 is thrusting and stuff like that. But a6 was not played, knight e4 was also not played, where this is an idea, but a5 works. So in the game was played a5, stopping the idea immediately following the Russian school of chess. But this creates the weaknesses on the b5 square, and as the author says, I think not the most accurate decision by my opponent. Uh, but it is always it's a possible move, of course. He decided that he will just block the a4, a5 possibility fever and focusing on playing e5. I personally think that this is very counterintuitive, as a6, b5 might release in some sort of counterplay, and c5, e5 breaks. Now it's a bit weakening, but obviously opponent is smart, and this creates b5 weakness, and I would personally hesitate very much if I play this. But whatever, the game was played. Knight fd2. In the game was played bishop e5, immediately exploiting it. But knight fd2 is an interesting move given by author. He says that it is an interesting try. e5, then knight to a3, very nice move. And white has a knight on a3, not on e1, like this, the knight would go on a1. Queen e7, because he's just trying to say that, knight fd2 is interesting because after e5, the position is very passive. This is coming, so you have to anticipate. Yeah, and that's what the author says as well, right? Okay. Knight fd2, he says that is an interesting try. e5, knight a3, and white has a knight on e3 and not on e1. Queen e1, rook e1, putting the rook against the queen. Rook f8, bishop f1, opening up the rook. Useful improving moves. This is slightly better for white. La Verione. Okay. So he says that knight bd2 would have been a dubious move in the same side because knight doesn't belong here. e5 is black is totally fine because a knight on f3 we need to go back to a back square. Sorry, go back to a bad square after pawn to e4, which is e1. And similarly, if you go knight to f to d2, then there's supposed to be a knight on d2, right? So he's just anticipating it. And he's just saying that in this position, my knight is not on e1, but on a3. Of course, that knight goes here, this knight comes here, but the same concept. And this knight can come to b4, very nice outpost, c4 as well, sorry, b5, c4. And let's see how the game continues. But this was not played, and rook f8, which we slightly used for improving moves. And this is a very nice structure. I would love to gain some knowledge and insights here. Obviously, I doubt if there's anything, but I really am curious to see some positions in the structure as it is. This appears to be very, very, very nice to me. I'd love to see a game or two. Caruana. Yeah, okay. Something like that. You know, a4, a5, knight bd2. Goes here, castle. A4 is a nice idea. Queen b3, queen b5. That's a nice idea. Okay, let's go into the end game as the structure is quite right. Rook d1, knight c4, just jumping on the squares, nothing concrete. But how would you continue? That's what I'm wondering. What's the plan? Okay, just some zero trades and simplifying the position. It results in a nice endgame. And queen side play. I see. Quite interesting. Sacrificing the rook and boom, boom, boom. Caruana being okay, interesting. Bashir Laga versus Kata Manish. Okay, I think I know this guy. It's obviously an Indian. पता नहीं सुना होगा. I don't know. D4 knight f6 knight d6 e3 London system h3 d6 knight d7 a4 very nice move to include. It's a very nice position. b4. I mean, for black I know how to continue this position. Black has many ideas, many breaks. But for white, I'm just curious how do you continue. Okay, bishop c4, very interesting move, putting some pressure here. Rook e1, bishop s2, slightly improving moves. e4, that's quite a nice break. And that is how our game continued the last one. But I'm just curious to see. Doubling on the e file, bishop b5. It's playing on the square, slightly improving the game's knight at point, rerouting the knight. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. The knight should be rerouted. And breaking in with e5. That is definitely very interesting. Wow. Okay, and then opening up the position. Some trades are there, and apparently most of the endgames are pleasant for right on the or maybe Mashir Laga wanted to outplay Manish in the game. So that's the wait. Yes. Gadakamsky Wankao. Okay, I don't want to see draws. Gadakamsky, Edward Kanyan Musto. Bishop f3. Yeah, I thought that this could be a move. Bishop f3, b5, c4. Quite interesting. Okay, c4 is a nice idea. Push c4 later. The bishops are doing very good. Yeah, actually, there's nothing like you have to make sure the London system is typical structure C3, D4, D3 pyramid stays. You can just transpose it to some typical Queen's pawn stuff as well. Ah, okay, D1, ED, 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 takes. Okay, D6, Queen E3, right? C4. Okay, quite interesting, I must say. Just want to see some opening ideas. Okay, again, I want to see white running. Okay, last game, Queen B3, Knight B5. Oh, it plays very classy and simple chess. Annoying, annoying. Okay, let's game Queen A3, yeah. Maybe B4, Knight B2. Creating very solid position, actually. Okay, no, this is not a game I'm looking for, but whatever, let's call it a day. So let's come back to our game, guys, and let's see what is going on. All right, we were here, Queen to C. Oh, so no, we were way back. Yeah, so A5 was played, and knight b2 would have been a useful move. No, would not have been a useful move. Knight f2, we saw that already. And in the game was played bishop b5. The author says, I played this immediately, which is also a good piece. And psychologically, it puts some pressure on the opponent. Maybe he will start to doubt himself on why did he allow to play b5 square to bb. Very practical stuff going on. Just immediately capitalizing on the weak square. Like I'm just putting a piece, I'm just spinning, and just improving my position. Sorry. E5 is a variation. E5 is already difficult to play because D cross E5, bishop cross F3, nice move because it is necessary. But all of a sudden, from a slow position, black must give up bishop Okay, not an easy choice. Knight e5 is the point, but white should be slightly better in this position. I mean, he just wants to equalize because normal d5 can just be met by knight e5. Knight e5 was the knight is pinned, and we lose. Yeah, so e5, d5, and bishop f6 is a nice move, and he didn't want to go that way. So knight e4 is also an interesting move, and it is the engine recommendation, the best move. Knight b d2 takes, queen d2. Okay, not knight d2. Very interesting. White is not afraid of bishop f3, just a normal position. Okay, dude. Okay, a normal position. I see. Maybe you probably like the bishop too much. Pawns coming to f4. There's no queen side attack. Okay. No, 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 don't be afraid. Just be practical. There's no attack, but I would still prefer to have my knight. But that knight doesn't seem to have any good future, anyways. And bishop pair will have a long-term advantage indeed. So in the game was played e6. Understandable choice from my opponent. Before playing e5, he wants to improve his queen. Knight b d2, queen e7 was played. Now black is ready for e5, and my idea was to meet e5 with e4. So how to prepare it? Queen c2. And while, okay, rook e1 is also an interesting move. The author says, I think it was more accurate, even if it allows black to play knight e4. Yes. Okay, what if black plays knight h5? The plan to play f5 is worse than white's queen is on d1. Okay, because queen e2, f5, then e4. Ah, the queen is more useful on e2 than on c2. If f4, the best, but it's difficult to imagine that black will successfully play the king's Indian plan. Definitely, I agree. King h1 in the position. Yeah, that looks like quite a prophylactic move. Very counterintuitive though, but I feel that g4 can be on the cards very, very, very soon. Okay, knight e4. Rook e1 was more accurate, and knight h5 would not go up, but knight e4 indeed. And knight e4, bishop e4, knight e2, bishop e7, e4. Okay, I was thinking f3, but okay, e4 is better. e4, e5, and knight f3 back. Very interesting. White with slightly better chances. Just a typical pork sort of setups or some player. Good center white has and the slow improving play. Let's see. Okay. So rook e1 was accurate, but our guy plays this move. Queen c2, I went for this move to support e4 and also to stop knight e4. Knight h5 would have been a good move. This is more interesting now since the queen on c2 is a bit misplaced against the f5 plan, which is very, very interesting as well. e5 was played by the opponent. My opponent went for the logical plan, but this is a mistake. How is it a mistake? e4, boom, to stop him from playing e4. And I am definitely better. Rook f d8, black's position is still solid, but I went wrong here and I played this move d5, which is a mistake. Author has said that bishop a6 would have been interesting, but black has many good moves. Sorry. Rook f1 would have been a better move at the end. Just keeping the tension and not committing to the pawns very, very soon, as you will see in the game what happened. Rook f1 is the best, and white is playing a fantastic Rilo phase. Yeah, that's what I would want. Knight h5, knight f1. Yeah. That's what I was wondering. This seems a bit offsuit. Easy play, just solid advantage. Yes. Rook f d8 and d5. Standard idea. I thought that the bishop on d7 is bad, but I have long-term advantage on the queen side, but it's actually nothing, no advantage. Why? Because my bishop on h2 is now locked out of the game and it is hard to actually make progress. Bishop a6, interesting. Black has many good moves. Rook dc8, later on you played a useful move. The rook was doing nothing on d8 anyways. Bishop g3. I tried to correct my mistake by improving the bishop, and it was a good positional try because my opponent didn't find the correct move, which was to play knight h5. Sorry. Yeah, his opponent didn't fly knight at knight h5. With the idea was that the correct move to meet bishop h4 with bishop f6 and bishop h4 with bishop s6, making sure that we black also gets to trade his bad bishop and capitalize on the f4 square weakness, which is going to be a nice position, and f5 would be on the hands, and knight c5 and black will do great. So nice idea, I must say. I would not play that perhaps, but okay. King h2, my intention was to ignore the bishop and recapture fg3, which would improve my position. Bishop h6 is an interesting choice here, also deserves attention. With the idea of bishop f4, I guess, or knight f4. Bishop f4 looks more intriguing. Bishop a6, not the only idea, but black is fine here. Okay. So bishop g3 was played, knight h5 was the correct move, but this was a good try, but his opponent didn't find the correct move and played this move h6. This was played, but it is a mistake. Why is it a mistake? Because of this very nice move bishop h4, and this is a very interesting idea. I literally saw for the first time, and I'm very impressed by this idea. Bishop h4, my bishop is working on h4 compared to h2. But bro, what if he plays g5? I mean, you are not interested to give away your bishop, are you? But he's like, okay, g5, black's choice, and it's one of the best. Queen f8, he says, is probably better, would be logical, but it is clear improvement for white, that the bishop is on an active square now. Bishop h4, g5, that's what I was wondering. Black's choice, and it's one of the best. Bishop g3. And now this thing, if you can just like this bishop went ding, 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 nothing. But just made sure that white pushed some of the black pushed some of the pawns, which resulted in the weakening of f5 square long-term advantage, but it's very nice. But it's clear that g5 was a weakening move, and from 0-0 relation, it is plus 60 now, plus 6. Oh. During the game, I didn't know that, but visually it can be understood. The f5 square is a forever weaknesses in black's camp now, as I said. Knight h5, my opponent went for a logical plan and normal plan. After seeing this game, I literally considered that the position is better for white, but if this would have been an easy evaluation before me watching this game or studying this, especially watching the video, I would definitely say that, okay, I have some ideas, of course, knight c4, knight e3, same thing. But long story short, I would be very intimidated by black and kind of say this position as unclear or perhaps better for black as f5, f4 is coming and just looks very, very scary. My bishop is dead. But apparently, I'm very wrong, and white is completely better, and that's how we learn to don't misjudge. So, like for example, if position comes in my game and I just make some random moves, I get overexcited. Sorry, I get scared and start some direct immediate counterplay, not knowing that my position is good, in fact, better. So there's no need to go desperate and just play normal chess. Yeah, knight h5, logical plan. I move my queen. Queen d1, knight h5, and sorry, knight h5, logical plan. Queen d1, I wanted to improve my queen. Some tactics, knight g5, knight d4, some tactics. Uh, and then knight g3 was one move, fg3. Anyways, I'm not afraid of this structure as it's better. F file is opening and the square is weak. F5 is black's only chance, but quite difficult to play like this. Bishop c6 tricky, and bishop proceeds just a second. I'm not afraid of this structure. Black's only position, but quite difficult to play like this. Bishop c6, very tricky move, huh? Because the idea being that f5 creates the pressure on this pawn chain e4 d5, and the bishop opens up, which is going to be really good. With this bad bishop, you're anticipating this idea and you're already opening up the position. Sorry, you're just trying to trade that bad bishop, which is going to be good eventually. So yeah, bishop d6, d6, knight e5. And e5 position is more complicated, but white has a solid advantage. g4 is coming, open file, maybe knight e4, rook e1, queen c2, knight h4, knight g4, king h2. Many, many, many ideas. If e5, then knight e4, knight e6, many ideas. In fact, knight e1 also doesn't look good, just too good. Knight g3, and whatever, knight g4 and knight f4 was played, but another mistake. Though I would be very scared as white right now, but this is a mistake, and that's why we should watch more games. Bishop f4, very good exchange, and black's position is strategically better. Strategically lost. Okay, okay, my bad. ef4 seems like a good move to give the e4 square for the knight. Rook e1, knight e5. But whenever the knight lands here, my knight will land on d4. Brilliant. Okay, that's quite brilliant. And I have a very clear idea in my okay. The author says it's already winning. Wow, I doubt, but he's better. He's a grandmaster. I'm a noob. Knight d4, and I have a very clear idea in my mind on how to get a good knight on f5 versus bad bishop on g7. Yes, yes, that's a very great idea. Exchange the e5 knight and play bishop c6 to trade the bishop as well. So what author is saying that I'm just going to get my knight to f5, knight f3. I'm going to trade this. Nobody's stopping me to trade it. I'm going to play bishop c6. This is a pin, so post trade as well. And then the good knight versus bad bishop, and he clearly win this, which I completely agree with, and I'm going to win it as well. Just he's a grandmaster, so he sees that idea and he realizes and he just knows what trade to make, and he's quite calm, logical, doesn't get intimidated, and that is why that bishop g3, bishop h5 idea was very useful, just because that good square weaknesses on the light squares are simple enough to win the game, and don't be intimidated, play practical chess. Wow, this is quite impressive stuff. Gf4, obviously not allowing it, limiting the knight. There can be some scary counterplay on this file, but hey bro, chill, relax, or shit, chill, relax, let's watch it. Black didn't want to allow me to get the knight on d4, which is quite nice as well. Bishop to d7. Yeah, this is indeed a very good move for sure. Trading the very important knight on d7 because it's a close position. Knights are better. Knight can come to c5, knight can come to f6 and can be a big trouble. You're just capturing the good knight, and also a very nice tactical theme that the queen is going to some another square and the knight can easily launch to f5. Removing the guard, bishop d7, I gave up the bishop for the knight, and anyways my knight will land on e5, queen d4, knight h4, the knight reaches the desired square, king h1, then knight f4, the game continued normally, queen h5, bishop f8, knight f3, interesting move, improving moves, bishop c8, nice trap by my opponent, because obviously if you capture, knight d6 would be a losing build, knight g5, queen h4, bishop e7, queen is trapped. So yeah, I mean, queen g4, queen e8, queen is trapped. So obviously, it's quite easy. The author sees it, you grandmaster. Knight f5, this is not a position for one tempo. Of course, you can play anything, you can just play around. Queen d8, g4, bishop, very nice on g4. And obviously, like if he goes takes, then fg and then g4 again, that file is also opened up. Same idea as knight h4, knight e3. You are getting the rook into the game, that's the one way. King h2, bishop e8. Many moves are fine now. I chose queen h4 for the engine. It decreases a bit the advantage if black rates the queen. But I knew that psychologically, black would never want to go into an endgame with no counterplay ideas, just to sit and wait and try to hold a bad position. Read it again if you didn't get it. Very instructive. I know that, but very instructive psychological stuff. Queen h4 necessary, and it's only 0.5 move, but just throw like it's a nightmare. Why would anybody want to play this? I mean, so scary, man. Already so much trouble, no counterplay, so passive position. B5 break. This weakens up. C6 break. This weakens up. But apparently, endgame is the only choice, and you sometimes have to go for it. Even I have got some many worse positions in the opening and stuff, and many games where I might have the slightest of counterplay or whatever in the end game, and I didn't go for it, and it got trouble. Okay, I have some message with my homies. My usual आगे निकल जाएगा. Sorry. Hmm. Knight d2, queen c8, f3, just solidifying the position, not hurrying up, queen s6, c4 to lock the b5 counterplay completely, bishop d7, queen f2. White should have enough resources to break through. Very rarely these positions are fortresses, rook e2, b3, bishop e7, knight b1. Improving my other knight slowly, slowly, slowly. Bishop d3, knight c3, rook h2, queen b2, king g8, rook g1, and now improve my position to the maximum. King f8, queen d2, rook h4, h4, rook g8, h5, okay. H5 was correct, but now it's a +2, just game over. But knight b5 is a blunder. Rook g g8, we have reached move 40. Black situation didn't change, but here I committed a very big mistake because I relaxed. Typical thing that can happen in a slow game like this one. Knight b5 is a blunder because of this move. H5, brilliant, like stoking up the position was absolutely necessary. I'm from a lost position, it is suddenly back to a fight. Gh, queen f2, with white still is slightly better, but not winning anymore. And yeah, if G h5, then bishop f5, e f4, queen c8, and too much counterplay is probably the best move that I missed. Black is fine here. But obviously his opponent didn't see that. He was psychologically not that good. Maybe my opponent missed the chance here. Maybe he thought this position is hopeless a long time ago and didn't even try to find some kind of defense. Psychological stuff, guys. But kids, like especially in India, we want to win. We want to win. They keep trying, and H5 is not an easy, tough move to find. But yeah, psychologically matters, and struggling so long, 40 moves. It's very tiring. Hours into the game. Whatever, you got one chance and you didn't take it, but whatever. Queen c8 missed the chance. And yes, because the point is that if you're playing h4, you're weakening it. So h5, you got to fix that pawn. So that's a simple idea. But now h5, now I lock the king side and it is game over. The rest was easy. Rook g5, rook g2, bishop e7, b4, breaking on the queen side. b4 comes and when this position opens, black will not be strategically lost but also tactically. Let's see how actually. A b4, queen b4, queen d2 back. Very interesting chess. Takes e pawn, of course not g pawn. And I think e4 square is also weak, but I don't know how will he convert. Perhaps opening the a file. Bishop d8, knight c3, yes. Queen d3, rook i3, 7, knight d4. The knight comes to this fantastic square, and it is a full dominant. Yeah. Rook d7, queen b3, queen b4, trading it, queen b5, c b5. Wow, very interesting. I might have gone for a b5 because I think a4 is a weakness which can be attacked, but I'm wrong. c7 is a bigger weakness which can be targeted very quickly and very effectively. Bishop e7. If oh wow, wow, if I is quite nice. Trading of the bad weaknesses, some very classy stuff. Author has not exaggerated on this part, but quite classy. Because I would play b5 and get my rook to the d and either a5 and then knight to c6 and then try something. But the author is pretty confident. That's what happens at this level. For me, I know I'm winning, but it's still a big fight, and I don't know what to do. But for author, it's quite subtle, huh? Interesting. 95, 5. That looks like a very nice idea. I would not play that. Now it's clear. Yeah, now C6 is come. C6, C7 is very exposed. B6 is coming like rook A7, B6. And good. Rook A5, rook B8, knight C3, rook B8, rook B6, rook G2, rook A6, king G2, rook B6, rook F5, king F5. Bro is literally playing with his opponent. That's a very dank move, not king F2, but king F5. It's like I'll do anything in the world I want. I'll get my king to F1. Okay, one, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. Same, but just going to the last line. Very tank. Okay, just do whatever you can. You can't do anything. Rook B8 takes. Sometimes the proper breakthrough is by trading one piece, huh? Interesting. Because both our rooks are active compared to his passive rooks, but very interesting. Rook 8, knight E2. My opponent resigned. It was an ordinary game where both sides. Why did he resign? King c4, knight a4, b6. Maybe, yeah. It was an ordinary game where both sides committed positional mistakes, but that is what positional chess is all about. It is not fantastic moves or brilliant deep ideas. In most of the cases, it is understanding what the position needs and just playing accordingly, standard good moves and that improve your pieces, stop counterplay, etc. These so-called working movements, if you have learn to do them correctly. Mm, so good. If you learn to do them correctly, you can reach a good level of chess. And believe me, you will have these occasions, and they occur on every level, starting from club level to 2800. I'm sort of bit curious to see how the game ends, though I know it's ending, but just curious to see some weird variations. G5, nice. Dank, 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 dank. Rook B7. G5 is very dank actually, very, very dank. Any other idea? Matlab, maybe this. Okay. Yeah, let's say D7 this. Let's say breakthrough ढूंढना चाह रहा हूँ of course. G5 is a nice breakthrough. Yeah. Knight E4 G5 के अलावा कुछ बता ना Knight E4 का क्या सीन है B7 ठीक है अभी G5 के अलावा कुछ बता यार what about Knight getting to C6 huh? Something like this B7 Knight E2 E4 नहीं रे E4 E4 let's see just wait B7 Knight E4 King F7 yeah, Knight C6 is good right King D7 then also Knight C6 yeah रुक इधर घुस रहा है अंदर तोते हो गए It's dominating है कुछ भी कर लो It's dominating बिशप तो डेड हो गया भाई was bishop like Sunil sir or Anupam sir some of my OG coaches used to tell me it's a pawn so you're a piece of nice game quite long I should have analyzed it a bit quicker but nice stuff anyways thanks for watching